children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
And we're back yet again. Everyone's favorite horror podcast, maybe. We're back this week to talk about a little horror indie flick called I Trapped the Devil. But fortunately, this week, we are not trapped with Hunter Shea. For a while, at least, till that sucker sneaks in here. I'm Jason Brant, joined as always by Jack Campisi.
It's a trap! It's a trap! As Admiral Akbar might say.
That's right. So, Hunter will supposedly come in about a half an hour?
He said he'll be late, but he wants to talk about this movie because it was his vote to watch it. So he said he wants to take his lumps.
Okay, well, we'll see how that goes then. So, as always, before we jump into the news and all that, you got anything going on?
Not much since last week. Go for it.
I was actually at a Tough Mudder, the weight loss contest we did a couple years ago where the loser had to run. I was at that watching the loser run this week, but my God, they could have maybe put up a couple tents or something because I'm basically translucent and the sun freaking murdered me because my douchebag friends were basically walking the course instead of running it, so I was just standing there in the sun forever.
This was actually this past weekend was the first time I wore shorts outside, and I went to a party, barbecue thing, and everybody was just, if planes were going above, they must have thought people were signaling them because everybody was just reflecting white.
Yeah, that was me the whole time, and I was basically paying the price yesterday, so no sun poisoning, so I'll take that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right, before we jump into the news here, let me give you the drinking rules. So your words are watch, Christmas, and burn.
Watch.
Hunter's will be slow, paranoid, and brother. Mine will be evil, door, and debut. And the bonus words are basement, man, and zone. Those are a little trickier than he usually does.
You broke up on me. What was those?
The bonus words?
Yeah.
Basement, man, and zone.
Basement. Okay.
I hope I didn't pull the mic out or something. All right. Hit me with some news.
All right. The big piece of news, you probably already heard this, that's flying around, is that Lionsgate is teaming up with Chris Rock to reboot the Saw franchise.
What?
Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah. So Chris Rock is kind of taking the comedians going down the horror trail cue from Jordan Peele. When Chris Rock came to us and described in chilling detail his fantastic vision for that reimagines and spins off the world of the notorious Jigsaw Killer, we were all in. So Chris Rock, that's pretty damn interesting news. I don't know about you. I've seen one, maybe two Saw movies.
Yeah, I think I've seen 1.5. I saw the first one. What?
You cut out for a second.
Damn it, really?
You're good now. You're good.
I hope it's not anything of mine. Anyway, I saw the first one. I really dug the hell out of it. I saw about half of the second one, and I saw the torture porn route we were going down and just bowed out. Just not.
Yeah, I lost interest.
Yeah. It's not an old series, though. It's kind of early to be rebooting, I would think.
I feel like that came around in like 2004.
When was the last one? It's pretty recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Listen, once you put a name like Chris Rock on it, though, it's going to probably be something totally different, with threads that connect it or something. But I like to see.
Yeah. I don't hold the series up in high regard, so if they reboot it, I'm not going to be
I'd rather just see that than just another Saw sequel that I'm not going to see.
It's true. It's a good point. I actually don't know anyone who's a giant fan of the whole series. Now that I think about it.
To be honest with you, I had a few cocktails before I saw the first one and kind of dozed off in the middle of it, so I don't even remember most of that movie.
It's a legitimately good movie, but torture porn's not my thing. So
I remember the ending.
Yeah, everybody does.
All right. Second piece of news. Remember how we talked about there was going to be a Jacob's Ladder remake? Well, we've got something to watch. It's been announced it's going to come out in August.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah, so it's going to come out on Dish Network first in June or in August. Hold on. Dish people can get it in July. I didn't read this before. Dish Network people can get it in July, and then everybody else can see it in August. Which, let's go run out and get Dish Network.
Yeah. So basically, they're just buying up stuff and making it exclusive for a while.
Yeah. The people in this movie, Michael Early from Think Like a Man and 7 Pounds, Jesse Williams, Nicole Behari. There are no names on this list I recognize. So I was not a huge fan of the first one. It's kind of on my to-do list to go back and rewatch.
I'm with you.
But so if this is on, I don't see me paying money to watch this one, but if it's once it hits free, I'll watch it.
I have only seen the first one once. Everybody goes nuts over it, and I watched it, and I was like, I don't really get it. So I'm with you. I've been wanting to go back and revisit it. It's been a long time now, and I'm wondering if I would change my mind, but haven't got to it yet. So
is that the movie where the woman's dancing and then like there's like a Lovecraftian tale? Yeah.
To be honest, that's one of the few things I remember from the movie. I didn't find it that memorable. But I could be totally wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. If we're slow for something to watch, we'll end up watching it, and then we can have fun with it.
At the pace this year's going, we'll probably end up watching it.
Exactly. This year's killing us. Slow news week. The last thing I got for you is I saw a trailer for CBS has a new show coming out, a supernatural drama. It's called Evil, and it looks like it's going to be kind of a police procedural psychological mystery series about the battle between science and religion. Focuses on Kristen Bouchard, a skeptical female clinical psychologist who joins David Acosta, played by Luke Cage himself, a Catholic priest in training and blue-collar contractor, as they investigate supposed miracles, demonic possessions, and other extraordinary occurrences to see if there's a scientific explanation or if something truly supernatural is at work. So it's kind of the X-Files with a priest and a skeptic. And
okay, yeah, whatever. To be honest, I haven't watched network TV in so long. I kind of got really tired of it. But anything more supernatural, what the hell? I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you. I remember like there were shows that I would just DVR and watch later, like The Mentalist and stuff like that. And some of these shows just got so worse and worse. I stopped DVRing them, and before I knew it, like the only things I watch from network TV are like funny things for the most part, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that. This being on CBS tells me it's not going to have the edge that we're probably is going to for us to give. But if it gets great reviews, then we can check it out. If it's on that CBS platform where you have to pay for it, I'll never see it.
I still have yet to watch the new Twilight Zone, which is very unlike me, but I'm not going to pay for CBS All Access. That, and I've heard it's not good.
I've heard real mixed reviews.
Yeah, I need to get.
So that's
all right.
That's all the news fit the print. Pretty slow week.
It's going to be a slow discussion later too, so get ready for that.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into our horror reviews.
We have such sights to show you.
I'm glad I managed to stock up a few things here at the very end of the week so that we can see if we can stretch this till he gets here.
Well, there was a little season finale I think we can talk about.
Yeah, that's going to be quite a bit of our discussion, I think, as best we can do without having spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, first up, I'll just mention that once again, I had another friend who hadn't seen Overlord. So when he said that, I was like, putting that in. I don't know how many times I've seen it now. 4 or 5, probably. God,
you have the Blu-ray, right?
Yeah. This movie, to me, is going to be one of these timeless movies I go back to every single year. I mean, every time I watch it, I see something else that's just amazing. And if you haven't seen this yet, you have to check it out. It is so badass. All the characters, the story, the effects. I mean, this movie is so much fun. I freaking love it. Every Halloween, it's going to be a revisit.
That was the surprise grand slam of last year.
Yeah, I was trying to explain to my friend, I didn't even want to see it because I hated the trailer so much that I didn't want to go see the movie. and I ended up just being completely blown away.
So what did your friend think of it?
Oh, he loved it. He couldn't believe how great it was. He'd never even heard of it. He had no idea it'd even come out. And said, yeah, you and everyone else. So, yeah, he freaking loved it. It's amazing. So I just wanted to mention that quick before I jump into the big thing I watched this week, which was The Thing 2011. I have not watched it since I saw it in the theater when it came out because I was so pissed when I saw it. So I thought, you know what? I need to revisit this sucker and see if it's as bad as I remember. And surprisingly, it's not. It's actually a pretty competently made movie. But the things that are the problem with it that I didn't like then are still big problems with it. And it still makes it something that I'm not going to run around telling everyone to see. And it seems like for every step forward it took one or two back. So, hey, this is not a remake. It's a prequel. Oh, well, it's great that it's not a remake, but it sucks that it's a prequel. And then it ends up, it's really just a remake anyway. Only the end is really any different.
Yeah, it's pretty much a remake.
Yeah, beat for beat almost.
And the CG effects, when you come with a love for the original, and then you're just watching CG and you're going, no.
So that was the thing I remember the most, how bad the CG was. And at the beginning, I don't know, the first third, basically when the monster first appears, I'm thinking, I don't remember why I thought this was so bad. These are pretty good effects. And then it hits one, and I'm like, oh, now I remember why I hated the effects in this, because the brightly lit monsters just look like shit, probably 3 or 4 different times in it. Sometimes they look really good. Sometimes it looks really bad. Yeah. And it just, I don't know what the hell the studio was thinking. If you've ever seen, I think it was called Harbinger Down. It's a movie where they took, there he is.
What's up, final fucks?
Grand entrance.
Here come trouble.
What are we talking about?
The Thing, 2011.
Oh.
I revisited it.
We reviewed that on Monster Man outside the theater.
That's right.
Wow, that was a long time. You guys have been doing Monster Man that long?
Oh, yeah.
It will be
8 years ago.
8 years this summer.
Well, there you go. So anyway, what I was saying is if you've ever seen Harbinger Down, they reused the practical effects made for this in that, so you get to see actually what they were. And I got to tell you, they weren't all that great in that movie either. But I feel like people would have appreciated it more, even if the practical effects weren't great. To just have the thing with practical effects again, people would have maybe not shit on it so much.
You know, that movie didn't tread any new ground, and it did not have many characters that you gave a crap about. So it was hard to really embrace the quote unquote prequel, even though it was a remake.
When goddamn Swedes.
So yeah, that's part of what I meant when I said it takes a step forward. The cast in this is great. I mean, I forgot everyone that was in this movie. It is so well cast, but I couldn't tell you anything about any of the characters, and I watched the movie an hour ago.
That's made the thing so great because you knew each other, you knew their names, you knew their eccentricities, you knew everything.
Yeah, so it's like they would get something right, and then they tied it in really well to the first movie, but it was a remake, so who cares? And the same thing I always say about prequels, I know who's going to die, so there is zero tension in this movie. It doesn't matter who's the thing, who's not the thing, when they turned, they're all going to die, and you know it. So who gives a shit?
Plus bad CGI.
Yeah, we just covered that right before you got in. I was bitching about that. It wasn't as bad as I remember most of the movie, but the parts that are bad are just terrible. But I do want to say, though, the ending I thought was pretty cool because it could go for a sequel in a different direction that they never made, so it ends up not mattering. But they showed a couple of cool things in the ship that I thought were neat and different, but it wasn't enough to make it something I want to really recommend a lot of people go see. Not as bad as I remember. Nothing special.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
Hunter, why don't you go since we've been yapping?
Oh, okay. Have you guys been talking about back alley abortion movies, or did I miss that?
You missed that. Go ahead.
Okay.
That was on the to-do list.
So, if you ever, you don't want to get rid of Cletus the fetus, you should watch the movie The Suckling.
I just love the name.
It's I bought it because of the name, and the cover had like a cool monster, which I found out was like a full-grown monster fetus. it's shot on film. I'm sure this film was used to shoot a Canadian episode of Silk Stockings, and
This
maybe
movie's big in
before that,
Alabama.
Little House on the Prairie.
Big
Oh
movie in
yeah,
Alabama right now.
they're loving this movie. So it looks like something from the 70s, but it's actually from 1990. Jack,
wow.
this is one when you're over, we got to watch this.
This is when you bought a chiller, right?
I did, yeah. That and Demon Wind. Great double feature. So it's a movie. This girl gets pregnant and she goes to this rundown, dilapidated house run by people out of Rob Zombie's worst nightmare. And she's going to get an abortion from this woman. And it's a very explicit abortion that nobody needs to see. This just the mishandling of this fetus is terrible. And they flush it down the toilet when they're done, and you see it plop out of the pipe into the sewer.
Jesus Christ.
And because the sewer is also, I think it's in New York or whatever, so everything is toxic and gross. So the fetus mixed with the sewer juices starts to transform this thing into a giant killer monster that only goes back into the house of the quote unquote abortion clinic, abandoned house, fuck house, and proceeds to start killing every hooker and everybody that's in the house. And it becomes kind of like a zombie movie where it's like board up the house to keep the killer fetus out.
So this could be a double feature with that Dee Wallace movie from a couple of years ago, the Christmas movie.
Oh yes. What was that? Was it Black? No, it wasn't Black.
It's like
Christmas.
Red or something like
Red
that.
Christmas. That was it.
I never thought I'd heard the phrase "to keep the killer fetus out."
I never thought I'd have to say it or see it or own it, but I've done all three, man. It's an incredible movie. I think you got to get your best pro-life friend and don't tell them what this is. Tell them it's a video by Pat Robertson or something, and then pop the sucker in, lock the doors and windows, and just crank it.
We've rented
lose
the
your
theater.
friendship.
We've rented the theater at Oral Roberts University.
Welcome to the suckling, motherfuckers. No, it's a must see. I mean, the best part is Mike Gingold is at times plays the giant fetus. So
Who's Mike Gingold?
he's a big time horror writer. So he is like the thespian on all things horror, but everybody has humble beginnings.
And he's got giant fetus on his IMDb. So
Yeah. So if you want to own it, Vinegar Syndrome has a possibly the best print you're going to get of this thing. So you could get it directly from them or go to the store in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
I saw when I was getting links. It's on Amazon Prime.
It's on Prime, but you know what? Go all in. Balls in, buy it.
The Suckling.
You want to see that shame and regret on your shelf every time you look over.
God. It sounds like something that should have come out in the 70s, not the 90s.
It looks like a 70s movie too. And I believe there's an actress in there who actually looked kind of familiar. I think she was from the movie True Love, where Annabella Sciorra got her start. But she wasn't credited, so you're probably like, please don't put my name in there.
Oh, God. Jack, what did you watch?
I watched a movie that should have been aborted.
Oh, see?
Oh,
There's a theme.
nice transition.
There was a movie that was touted as the Expendables of horror,
Mm.
and it has an all-star cast. I can't remember everybody, but I'm going to throw a few names out. Kane Hodder, Gunnar, what's his name, who was
Hanson.
Gunnar Hansen, Dee Wallace, Barbara Crampton, Tony Todd, Adrian Barbeau, Sid Haig, and many others. This is Death House.
Oh, I never saw that.
Me either.
Just came out on Amazon. Or not Amazon, on Netflix. Now,
Why do I think that's old?
No, it's rather relatively new. And I believe maybe our pal Steve Barnard had seen this, and I think he'd given it the kibosh.
Well, it's a couple of years old, but all right.
Yeah.
It was made but not released for a long time, I think.
Yeah. So it takes place in this like super prison for the worst of the worst serial killers and stuff. And these two agents go in for a tour, and there's a lot of virtual reality stuff where they keep the prisoners in these virtual realities where they can like relive their murders or something. I don't freaking remember. But this is just an excuse so they could just do cheap green screen effects. So there's really, really, really cheap effects in this movie. And they basically are going down like to the ninth plane of hell where there's like 5 or 6 supernatural serial killers and Kane Hodder's leading like this rebellion. Naturally the whole place breaks loose and stuff. The special effects are so cheap and horrible. The story is very convoluted. There's a few moments of like super duper gore stuff. They're like, oh, that was kind of cool. It's mainly fun to watch for the spot the celebrity.
It was
He
Gunnar
Wallace-
Hansen's last movie.
Yes. So there's Kane Hodder has a lot of lines in it, and I'm like, didn't this guy make his money by being behind a mask and not saying anything?
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna get most of that good dialogue to Kane.
Yeah.
He should be fine.
Barbara Crampton does her damnedest to, and so does Dee Wallace. But this movie is worth watching just for Spot the Celebrity and to say you watch it. Maybe you'll watch it and go, oh, this is a cult classic. For me, I kept looking at my watch going, oh boy.
Yeah, it's got Michael Berryman.
Yeah.
Bill Moseley. Jesus Christ.
So they spent all the money getting these people there on set and had nothing for effects afterwards.
It's a shame they wasted all these people in one movie.
Well, to get them on set costs like 17 large pizzas.
But
and
it does
5 cases of Busch beer.
It does have plenty of the bees. It's got some blood and it's got some boobies.
Oh.
All right.
So,
just moved
How
up.
bad
and
could it
it's
be?
on Netflix. So I would say don't watch this. Don't sit down to watch a movie with this. This is when you got your friends over and you're drinking and you want something in the background. Pop this on.
All right. I just might do that. I've been waiting for it to be free because everyone I know who's seen it has just said, dear God, make it stop.
Yes.
So, okay. I wanted to mention what was on Joe Bob this week. This was week 8, and this Friday is the last episode of the season. So I'm actually going to try to watch the whole thing live this week because I haven't been able to do it the last few. But he showed The Stuff, which I remember shockingly little of, to be honest. It's been a
Good
long
movie.
time. Long time since I've seen that. And he followed it up with Street Trash, which I caught the last 20 minutes of. And I have to watch this freaking movie now. The last 20 minutes were insane. Just people were melting and their heads were being shot off by canisters of air or something flying through the air. I mean, it was nuts. So if you haven't seen Street Trash, I'm guessing it's going to be a good one with Joe Bob. I really dug the end. So I'm sad that we only have one more week of this. I keep waiting for Shudder to announce what they're going to do next, and they're definitely milking it. I can't imagine they don't because, I mean, if you just log into Twitter on a Friday night, people are just blowing up over whatever movie it is.
That's
So
not going anywhere.
this has to have driven more people to Shudder than anything else they've ever done. I can't imagine it would be close. So I'm hoping they keep this sucker going.
Should we go find the shitty studio he does it in New Jersey and just stand outside?
Yes, actually, that would be quite fun. I'd like.
I was
that.
just watching. I thought of you. I just started watching his Wolf Guy.
Oh,
Wolf
did you?
Guy. Oh my God, with Sonny Chiba.
Yeah,
I'll talk about that next week. That's pretty remarkable.
I watched about half of that. It's like, this movie's like, what is this?
That's one where I'm like, oh, thank God for Joe Bob. Like,
Yeah.
I look forward to the breaks.
Yeah, you don't really want to watch that on its own.
No.
So what else you got, Hunter?
I watched. Oh crap! What's the name of that movie? Escape Room.
Yeah.
A mainstream horror movie. I think it came out probably January, February.
Yeah, that
something
sounds
like
right.
It's kind of like Final Destination and Saw combined, but without the torture porn. So it's kind of like they get this group of basic. You just figure they're all pretty much basic weirdos or assholes, and they get this invitation to go to this place and play this game. The girl who was in Daredevil, the TV series, who was the secretary,
Oh, the redhead.
the admin assistant, she's in it. And so they get in there, and immediately in the room they're in, it starts to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and they realize, oh my God. And there's naturally one guy who loves, I do all these escape rooms. This is great. We got to figure this out. And you got the girl who's like the reclusive weirdo, who's actually probably the smartest of them all. You got the jackhole business guy. There's a reason they all have something in common. So you find that out later. And it's just basically going from situation to situation and watching these rooms turn on them. And it could be a room. They go out at one point, looks like they're in the middle of frickin' Alaska. Then they go. It makes no real sense when you start to piece it together, because ostensibly they went into a factory and then came out the other end. But how do you get outside? Like, how much money did these people spend on virtual reality stuff where you can't tell the difference?
They got it from the death house.
It's a death curse. Look, it is a very fun date movie. Again, it's for a certain generation. I actually didn't mind it. As long as I didn't pull on those threads, it was perfectly fine.
Girls on dates with me have considered it an escape room.
There was very little blood. There were no boobs and no beasts. So it didn't catch the main three things. But it did have some cool ways to kill people and freak them out. And the end that kind of hints at there could be more to come. God help us all. But say you're 17 years old. You got your best girl. You want to take her out for a lap. Put your arm around her. Put a little thing in the popcorn box. That's perfect.
Well, minus the pervy part, I agree. I like the movie. I thought
for the pervy part, I said thing in the popcorn box. That meant you put like chocolates in it. What's going on with you?
Chocolates in your popcorn, yeah, okay.
Because it's sweet and savory. Don't you have Food Network?
Snow caps in your popcorn.
I thought
it's off the hook.
I thought the first room with the fire was really well done, and the movie just kind of slid downhill gradually from there.
Oh, took a precipitous leap.
But that first set piece was really cool. Like, they did good stuff. I just thought the end was just ridiculous. Like, I didn't want to spoil, but it was ridiculous.
It's like I guess they were inspired by the Belko experiment a little bit.
Yeah, sure. They just didn't do it well. But I thought it was decent enough. It wasn't terrible.
No, you can see far worse movies.
Yeah.
I paid $7 for it, but whatever.
Yeah, I actually saw that and I saw I had to pay for it. I was like, nope.
The wife forced me.
Well, I watched the documentary on Prime. Not just because it was an hour.
Yes.
It's called How the Devil Got His Horns. And I thought this was interesting.
Do I make you horny?
Does this make you horny, baby? It's all about basically the image of Satan and how it evolved from, way back, and how the Bible does not have a very in-depth description of what the devil looks like, or Lucifer or Satan,
Donald Trump,
and how through art and the church and other pagan gods and things like that, the modern horned devil red guy with the pitchfork became the image that we accept as a devil, when way back red wasn't even the color. Really, blue was the color it started with.
Blue, really?
Yeah, because the color of night and darkness and things like that. So I it was an interesting little thing, because when you start to think about like all the different ways that this imagery has impacted everything from horror movies to art to religion and everything like that, and you watch, and there are like specific paintings where they're like, so they're like in these places in Italy, and they're like, see up there, that's like the first time that they ever did this, or this inspired. So I thought it was a good hour.
I would love that.
That's good.
Right up my alley. So wait, are you telling me Jesus didn't look like Chris Cornell?
They actually do get into different ways that Jesus is portrayed as
Jesus looked just like Morgan Freeman when he was Easy Reader.
And Spidey Super Stories was like
that's how the Bible was originally written.
Electro Company 37.
Was this on Prime, Jack? Is that what you said?
I think it's on Prime.
Oh
yeah, that kind of looked interesting.
What's the name of it?
How the Devil Got His Horns. And the great thing is once you watch something like that, I found some other documentaries that I want to watch now. So we'll see how I do over the summer with the lack of new horror movies. You'll probably hear from me more on this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I just put this on my watch list. I have to watch this. It's on Prime.
All right.
Yeah, it's only an hour. It's pretty interesting.
So for my next one, have we all seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
yes,
I watched that last episode.
Okay. Obviously, we're not going to spoil anything, but I just wanted to get a feel for what you guys thought. This is the biggest collapse of the end of a show in at least 10 years and one of the biggest ever.
I've been saying for years, I thought George R.R. Martin was waiting for this to end, knowing it would suck so he could write the better ending.
Write a different ending.
Guaranteed.
Well, he would struggle to screw it up any worse.
He really would.
I went in. I was a big Game of Thrones fan. I've followed it for years and years. I've been into all the I don't want to say conspiracies, the angles people are looking up, all the prophecy and following that, and who's this person and that person, and yeah, I don't want to go into spoilers, but I'm just gonna say this was terrible.
This season was terrible,
shockingly terrible, front to end. There was one episode in there that I thought was pretty good, and the rest was just the writing was mind-numbingly bad. How they took 2 years to make this when every other season was 1 year, it's unfathomable.
How do you give the greatest protagonist in the series
don't spoil anything?
7 lines in an entire season?
I don't think it was as bad as you're saying, but I will say this: the past 2 seasons have been rushed, unlike all the other seasons. It used to be we got to go from here to there, and it would take all season to get there. And then all of a sudden last year, we got to go from this place down south to the wall, and they got there in a day. And so, everybody had express trains and something, and a lot of stuff just started moving quickly. And so there was things that they did that I was like, boy, if they had made this a 10 episode season or an 8 episode season and stretched a few things out, gave us a few more conversations and show us a little bit more about where this person's going, it could have really improved it. So I was entertained, and I'm not as angry as you are about it. I definitely think the writing was a little bit weak. These guys were going blind. I mean, they were supposed to inherit of the fully written books, and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, this one of the greatest things ever written. Well, now you guys finish it. Like they were kind of.
That's why you can't. When a creator has a vision, you can't follow it up. I'm sorry, it's his vision, and all you can do is fuck it up.
Yeah, so I thought it wasn't a home run, but it didn't ruin the series for me. And there were certain moments I really loved in this season. The last episode was a little lackluster, to say the least. But
yeah, you are being so kind.
I mean, it's like the last episode was, I think, the weakest of the series. Whereas the episode before it, there's a lot of controversial things, but it was way more entertaining.
It's like the last episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That was freaking The Thing compared to this.
But that was better than it. You're right.
If people wanted to know what I thought about this just in a text, I would just send them a GIF of a dumpster on fire. This season was so mind-numbingly bad to me. I can't even describe it. Last season was rushed as well, but I thought last season had really good beats. There were good story elements. They didn't have people taking a season to get back and forth, but it didn't bother me that much because it's like, I've seen that. I get that they're far apart. But this season just, Jesus. It should have been 2 seasons. Full seasons.
Was a thematic The Suckling.
Had I known it was going to be this, I'd have boarded the house up to keep the fetus out. That's for sure. So anyway, I just want to put that out there. This was rough, man. This was Lost levels of bad, but at least Lost was 1,000 cuts to the death. This was you just cut my head off out of nowhere.
I know.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, I'm done. That's all I got for the week.
All right. I got something real quick. It is a graphic novel, aka a comic book, called House of Penance, which this is so unlike me. I went drunkenly into the comic book store where I could barely string 2 sentences together.
Again, you don't have to say this. It's when you do something sober that we need to know.
I know. I'm sorry. So I go in there to the poor young guy who works there, and I'm like, I want a horror comic book. You have anything horror? I need something scary horror. So he's like looking all around, and I'm like trailing. My fucking kid's in the car. I had it. So sound like Norm Macdonald. Hey, my kid's in the car. So he pulled out this book, House of Penance, bought it, I'm like, fine, $16. I'm out of here. Goodbye. Jack, you would love this. It's about the building of the Winchester house.
Ah,
So
been there.
she's building the Winchester house, and it's everyone who's building it. And I don't remember the how it was really built. It was all built by ex-cons and criminals, and they have to turn in their guns, and they're building the house 24 hours a day. And it centers around her and this like kind of outlaw guy who kind of stumbles in there, and he's helping build the house. It's freaking weird, man. The art is bizarre. There are some like nobody looks like a human being in this thing. And for the first because I think it's 5 or 6 books. So for the first one, I was like, I don't get this. But then as I got sucked into the story, I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect. This fits the vibe of the story. It's bloody as hell. It's trippy. It's totally trippy. So check it out, man. It's a solid horror comic. And if you are into like the paranormal and hauntings, it's got a little bit of the Winchester house, which kind of gets the nips a little stiff. So when you want, Jack, next time you come over, I will bequeath that to you and enjoy it.
Excellent.
Did he purposely pick this for you, or did he just pick the first thing on the shelf to get you the hell out of the store?
No, he actually tries to satisfy me, as I'm a repeat customer, sober and not sober.
Hunter Shea and I both have Winchester Mystery House refrigerator magnets that I picked up when I did the tour there.
It's my favorite magnet. It's a box magnet, so it's thick and it's 3D. It's awesome.
It's
good. It's good to be friends with me when I travel.
That's the one magnet. If my cats broke that magnet, I might be down a cat or two.
Jack, you got anything else?
I do. I read a book.
Woo!
What?
It's called Creature by Hunter Shea.
Oh.
Look, pal, I've known you for a long time.
To make him read it. So just read this, son of a bitch.
Yeah. I have been given a free copy of this in exchange for an honest review. This book could only be written by Hunter Shea. Now,
I know you why. It could be damnation.
Well, look, you say it in the book. At the end of the book, you talk about your personal journey with this book. I've known you for close to 20 years, so which I can't believe I'm even saying that.
I know, and you've been there for a lot of that bad stuff.
Yeah, so I love seeing people that don't know you as well as I do reacting so positively to this book, because I'm reading this and I'm just going, wow, like there's a cathartic thing going on here with you. You've poured yourself into this book, but you also, thankfully, from an entertainment standpoint, have made a very entertaining horror novel as well.
You should have read the first draft. All therapy, no entertainment.
Because there's some pretty clever stuff in here. So there's a ton of character development in this, and then kind of the typical Hunter Shea. What I love is your third acts are my favorite things going. And this,
I always think of you. Oh, he's got to Shea it. Shea that third act.
He shayed it. So, but like I said, this is unlike the closest book to this that you have is the is it The Waiting about the ghost?
Yeah, which is
based
on a similar thing.
But still a pretty different story when you get into it. But your portfolio has a lot of different looks and feels to it. This stands out as something very different, yet not too different than people like, what the hell is this from? If people like what you write, they're going to love this book, but you're also giving them something that they haven't seen before. And like I said, I don't think anybody else could write this book. It's a very different take on a monster story.
Look, I thought people would hate it because I thought this is so personal. But the cool thing was that I've had so many people reach out who have all these life-altering conditions and that have written to me about how much it's helped them or shed light on things. I've helped out with Lupus Foundation, Alice Downloads Foundation since then. So it's actually helped me raise thousands of dollars.
Oh, that's great.
Which is crazy.
One of the things I appreciated about it, and this is like the most serious I've ever talked with you, like in my life, I think, right now.
Yeah, really. What the hell?
I don't like this.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
You fucking idiot. Who went to a comic book store and bought a comic book, yet pisses all over the Avengers, dickhead. Anyway.
That's right.
I totally forgot what I was going to say, so forget it.
There we go. You know what? When I see you next, you can hug me.
I will.
We'll hug
Good
it
book,
out.
dude. Good book.
Thank you.
I think you forgot to sign this. So I'm going to have to bring it back for you to sign.
That's it. Hey, we're going to be filming the last episodes of the Monster Men in the Monster Men studio where we've been for 8 years next month. So I'll sign it then.
Excellent.
Are you finally getting kicked out?
Finally. Time to move on to a new layer.
All my letters finally paid off.
The new set. The new set will be coming soon.
That's right.
So I just want to ask, how is this compared to Swamp Monster Massacre?
Not as good because I'm a character in Swamp Monster Massacre.
There you go. Exactly.
All right. Nice job. I got to read that book. All right. What is that it? We done?
That's it.
Done.
All right. Let's just jump into I Trapped the Devil.
Favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
I don't know why I started laughing there. It's almost like I'm really looking forward to this discussion.
I thought you were just mocking it right off the bat.
Trying not to. Jack, do you want to give us a general overview of this sucker?
I would love to. This movie is about
chomping at the bit tonight.
Wow.
This movie is about a guy who may have trapped the devil.
All right.
Yes.
Nailed it.
In his basement. And it may be the devil or it may be a person. Then his brother and his sister-in-law, I guess. I forget. They come over to visit him for Christmas and they discover that he has somebody locked in the basement. It's not R. Kelly trapped in the closet. That would have been awesome.
I'm in the closet.
Rosie the nosy neighbor.
Oh my God. That, you know what? Jason, have you ever thought of doing an SBIG on that?
On what?
The Trapped in the Closet video?
Oh.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
I should.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. So that's the synopsis.
That's all you can say about this.
Do you want to give your opinion or should we give it to the guy whose pick this was?
No, let me go first.
Have at it.
I thought this movie was okay, but it had like a pretty interesting beginning and then this like slow, kind of drawn out, convoluted middle, and then kind of a fun 5-10 minutes at the end that I was just like, I kind of like zoned out for a while and I came back for, I have to pay attention again and watch the end. So I think I would have liked this better if I hadn't pay-per-viewed it, if I had just seen it on Netflix or something like that. But I was just like, this is a very small, low budget movie that like I said, I thought a really interesting premise that it could have been like a tremendous movie and they just sort of delivered an okay movie.
Hunter?
Well, the reason I suggested this is because everybody in the horror community is talking about it. And I love the idea of trapping the devil in your house. It reminded me of the Howling Man episode in Twilight Zone. It has AJ Bowen, and it said it has Jocelyn Donahue or something. Holy shit, Jocelyn Donahue, House of the Devil, I Trapped the Devil. This is going to be awesome. Ron Malfi said this best to me at a conference one night when we were talking. He said, the trouble with writing quiet horror is I worry that it's so quiet no one can hear the horror. And that's what happened here. Because it's a very limited cast. It's upstairs and downstairs, so there's there's not much going on there. So it's minimalist, but man, there is just nothing going on. There's whole long stretches where no one seems to be even speaking. It's a lot of missed opportunities. It was a cool idea, and there were moments that happened. I'm like, this would be cool if you put your foot down on the pedal a little bit at this moment. But every time it should, they pulled back. So they just made this quiet horror movie that just made no noise whatsoever. It was just, I don't know. I was kind of sad. I was hoping I was going to finally put this in the book for consideration. I'm like, nope. Once again, I'm putting the pen away. Nothing's going in the book this year.
I found this really interesting. I haven't said that in a long time.
Yeah, that's interesting on its own.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I think you summed it up perfectly, Jack. The first third or so, I thought, wow, I'm into this. This guy's got someone trapped in the basement. His family's like, is this dude crazy? What's going on? You know, I found that stuff really fun. Then the middle happened, the second act, where people were just kind of wandering around the house, staring at the walls, staring at the TV. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's
Trippy.
not much speaking. And man, I started to fade hard. My wife just was like, I'm done with this. She's watched it, but she was like, what is this crap?
She's not into cheap mumblecore movies.
And then I thought the end pulled it back. Like the last maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I thought were more interesting again, and I was digging it. And I 100% agree with you too, Hunter. And when you said they really needed to put their foot on the gas a little bit at times. So we reviewed. It was called February, and then they released it as something else. Blackcoat's Daughter.
Blackcoat's Daughter, yeah.
And that was one that was, you want to talk about a slow burn, but then it goes super fast paced around the 2/3 mark, and it makes it more interesting. And I was waiting for this, but then in looking stuff up about this movie, I think I found out why it is the way it is. They shot this in 9 days. That is freaking insane. How do you shoot a feature in 9 freaking days?
Well, just don't have any dialogue people can screw up.
Yeah,
right?
It's almost like they had to just say, okay, you just stand there and look at the wall for a while, I'm going to film you. And,
by the way, should we light this? Nah. We'll use whatever natural light is coming out of here, so make sure no one can understand what's going on.
This Christmas tree has plenty of light.
By the way, if you trap the devil, would you take time to decorate the house for Christmas that you've boarded up?
I was wondering about the timeline. Was he decorating the house before he caught the devil, and then he started putting newspaper on the windows and stuff?
He hinted that he had the devil there for 2 years at one point. And I'm like,
was it 2 years? Oh, I missed that.
I started to fade, so I missed a lot of.
I was really tired and about to take Benadryl to go to sleep, but I was like, no, he just said 2 years. So why the F is he decorating?
Yeah.
Weird.
What did you guys think about the performances? I mean, there were really 3 people in this movie for the majority of it. What did you think, Jack? Did you like the main guy who supposedly trapped the devil?
I think at the beginning of the movie, I loved all the performances, because I thought that was a really cool premise. Because if I went to your house and you said, I've trapped the devil, there's no way I would ever think the devil's in there unless I went up to the door and suddenly I felt something or something weird. But for the most part, that doesn't really happen. So, you're like, no, are you crazy, dude? We have to so that the fact that the conversation they had and the whole premise of trying to tiptoe around the potentially crazy person, and then sort of the menace that emitted from the basement, I thought some of that stuff was cool. And then like I said, the middle of the movie happens and I started zoning out because it just got like weird and boring, and I was like struggling to pay attention. And so the performances, there was kind of like Scooby-Doo, where people just going back and forth through hallways with each other.
Oh.
Then the ending happens, and I don't know how important the acting was in the last 15 minutes of the movie. So I said that the acting was okay, but I don't even remember it.
I think the guy who played the brother-in-law, the one who trapped the devil, Scott Poitras, he would have been awesome in The Greasy Strangler. There was something about him like, yeah, I think he would make like a good secondary character in The Greasy Strangler. I could see that about him. He's definitely not leading man potential. It's funny, I didn't recognize AJ Bowen. It wasn't until he started talking, I'm like, wait, that's AJ Bowen. Like,
really? You didn't recognize him?
No, I swear to God, I'm thinking that's not the guy from The Sacrament and House of the Devil and VHS and You're Next. There's something about his face. He looks different. Maybe he's just gotten older. I think he's great. I love AJ Bowen. That's why I was so psyched. If I got AJ Bowen, and the whole time I keep waiting for Jocelyn Donahue to pop in. And when she does, I'm like, well, that could have been anybody. You could have put a mannequin in there. Why did we even need that?
House of the Devil's a good comparison to this. Same with Blackcoat's Daughter, but House of the Devil has like a real slow burn to it and then an awesome payoff.
That movie is goddamn magic. Every time I watch that, and I've watched that movie at least a dozen times, every time I watch it, it gets better. It's weird. But I thought the performances were fine. They just didn't have much to do.
Yeah.
And if they were emoting, it was so dark with so much not going on. Who would even know?
I actually thought the two guys were really good. The woman didn't have much to work with. Not that any of them did, but she really didn't have a whole lot. She looked scared a little bit.
Until the end.
I thought the lead guy was really good. It's just, that middle piece where nobody talks. It's a bit of a drag. But yeah, House of the Devil, that's a really good one to compare to. Where that one ramps up through the movie, this starts at a pretty solid high and then just takes a massive dip and then tries to bring it back up at the end. And it's one of these movies where obviously they made this for nothing. They shot it in 9 days. That's crazy. I don't even know how they pulled it off. I thought the sound work in this was the most exciting part of it. They did a lot of really crazy, interesting sound stuff.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about this. You said the sound. I thought the sound mix was terrible. I could understand almost nothing coming from the person behind the door.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with that. What I meant was, I think to make the movie more interesting at points, they threw all these crazy sound effects in and wind and the score and all this stuff, and it was really loud. It was almost like an Evil Dead movie at times, just for no reason. And I think they were doing it because they didn't have anything else to make exciting at certain points.
All right. So I wasn't the only one who couldn't understand what the devil was saying.
I rewound it a lot trying to figure out what the hell the devil was saying. Cool voice, though. Just needed to be a little louder.
Cool voice. At one point I thought, oh, maybe I'll rewatch it on my computer with my headphones on. And it was always like, no, I'm never rewatching this. So I don't care what he said.
Yeah, to me, this is one of those movies that I want to support people trying to make different stuff like this. So I don't mind renting this. I want people to make more things like this, but it's hard for me to recommend this to somebody who's going to struggle with a slow burn as it is, let alone. I just think a lot of people might quit right in the middle of this and then be pissed at me.
This would have made a better hour-long episode in like an anthology series or something, like Black Mirror or something like that.
Yep, just cut the middle chunk out, beginning and end, and you got something.
Or lean into the good parts. Make the devil audible, because that stuff down in the basement when he's talking is really creepy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
More interaction with the characters so we can learn a little more, maybe a little motivation, a little background. Give us something to chew on with these characters, because they were nothing.
What was that movie that we all liked with the guardian angel and the guy does the ritual Dark Song or something like that?
Dark Song.
Dark Song. That's another one. He could have learned from that movie too, because there's the characters are so interesting and what they have to do. Like, yeah, you're right. They could have given them more stuff to do
and do something visually that jars you. This was just a slow plodding into sleep.
Well, they started going somewhere with the brother had this map of missing people upstairs. Yeah. And they started going into that, and then that was just gone. I was like, that could have been more interesting.
Because all crazy people put newspaper clippings with, twine everywhere.
But he had the Charlie mailroom. So he's playing in Philadelphia.
What was the guy he was trying to find the mail for? I can't remember the name. My daughter would know.
I
can't remember. But yeah, they started going there, and then just and they went into his family dying in a car accident or something. Maybe more could have been done there. I don't know.
Yeah, what was going on with the TV stuff?
Yeah, that was never really explained either, right?
If it was, we probably kind of nodded off and missed it.
Some of that stuff, though, was kind of hinting at more supernatural things. So they were sort of tipping their hand a little bit.
Mm.
Do we want to do spoilers about the end?
Yeah, let's...
All hail the spoilers.
So the devil went down to Georgia. Look, so mistaken. He was behind his way behind. He's looking to make a deal.
Where was that motherfucking fiddle?
So when you say they were tipping their hand, did you mean like tipping it early so that you would know what the ending was? Like, how do you mean?
I immediately knew that the devil was in the basement because there was all this supernatural stuff happening on the TV set.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, okay, if it's just a guy trapped in there, and I mean I don't know about you guys, but it's just seemed apparent, like when somebody goes down there, the effect that the basement had on them,
Yeah.
too, seemed to. So I don't think once you're in there, you're pretty sure it is the devil. So then the rest of the movie, you can't wait to see what the hell. And I wasn't disappointed with that. I kind of liked the reveal.
I would have liked to have known how he trapped the devil, which when they ask him, he says it's not important.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's kind of important because not only did you capture him somehow, but you got him into the basement.
Yeah.
How'd you pull that off?
Yeah, all it took was a wooden cross on the door and some really loose locks.
Oh, Pam Morse has a great line. You're saying, how did he catch the devil? She goes, I thought the devil was in the details.
Nice.
You are banned.
What did you think of the reveal of it being a little girl then skipping out? I thought that was kind of cool because the voice was so creepy that was a pretty interesting choice.
I'm pretty sure that's what Hunter has trapped in his basement.
Maybe. No, I like that. I did like. Again hoping that was Jocelyn Donahue who came out.
That would have been cool,
right? But no, little girl. This looked like the girl from The Bad Seed.
It was
whatever.
Wednesday Addams.
Yeah.
You know, I wish there would have been more with the phone calls, like the phone ring, and he'd say, "Something's coming. Something's coming." I wish we would have seen whatever was coming.
Right.
That would have been cool.
Like I'm saying, they alluded to all these really cool things and just said, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, it was almost like they expected a 30-day shoot, and then they were hit with 9 days, and they're like, "Yep, that's gone. Yep, can't do that. Go stare at the wall."
that might be the problem there.
They could have just leaned into the fact that it is the devil in there, and then hearing more of the phone call stuff and having the effect on people, and you still don't know what it looks like or whatever. They could have still built up the tension, but you could have had, for what violence does happen in the movie, you could have amped. You said it before. You could have amped this up in several places.
Mm-hmm. I would have liked a little more too of AJ Bone was drinking a lot in this movie. You know,
oh my God.
They could have done something like, this guy's kind of an asshole who just drinks a lot and he's screwed up his brother. That's something, you know what I mean?
Right.
To kind of add to this guy's more of a douche.
And he was drinking what was obviously old hooch and some weird ass bottles that were just laying around that dirty house.
He was going to Pound Town on it too.
He was. And not getting drunk. So obviously he's a full blown alcoholic.
But apparently the drinking has severely affected his body because he gets stabbed in the side and just dies.
Hit him in the liver.
Yeah, like he got shot in the heart. I mean, he's just done.
Not the liver. I was waiting for a transplant.
I was needed that.
He just lost his will to live.
Please take me out of this movie. I gotta make VHS 4.
I'll say this though, in this year of movies, this is in my top 10 at the moment
so far.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm not putting it
because there's nothing, or nothing is making my top 10. Like
I'm holding out hope for the second half of the year to fill my list. I think my list has 2 right now.
Well, considering my list, I already had Game of Thrones penned in at number 1. I've already thrown the list out and I'm starting over. So. Yeah, I was amped for that. So where are you guys on the recommendation list here? Jack?
I would say wait for it to come onto Prime or Netflix and watch it, but I would not go out of my way to pay to watch it.
Hunter?
If you're in a motel where you pay by the hour and you're having sex and this just happens to turn on, keep it on and do your thing.
That's quite a recommendation. Well done.
It's new. It's my motel-a-thon.
This is a tough one for me because, like I said, these are the kinds of people I want to give some money to. There's cool stuff in here, but this is a tough one to recommend to a lot of people. I think on Netflix or Prime, hell yeah, give it a watch for sure. Be prepared for the middle, but there's some decent stuff in here. $5-6, that's a little tougher for some people, I think. So yeah, when it's on Prime, I definitely give it a view. All right, so next week, finally, Brightburn is coming out.
Yes.
Oh, so we're doing Brightburn over Godzilla.
Wait, they come out the same week? Really?
Yeah, Godzilla comes out Thursday.
Damn it. I didn't know. Damn it. I would rather do Brightburn, I'm not going to lie. But what do you guys want to do?
I don't give a shit. Wait, Brightburn, that definitely comes out this week?
Yeah, I saw it's in my theater on Thursday.
Are we sure Godzilla's coming out?
Yep. Yeah, they're both out. So let's do Brightburn. Godzilla's going to last a while.
We could do, look, we've got 2 weeks of movies.
Brightburn will have 8 days before it's out of the theaters.
That's
so
true.
we're gonna see it
Let's
fast.
make sure Brightburn is actually playing near us. This could be like Anna and the Apocalypse, and
Oh wait, let's see. Oh, wait a second.
I've got
Portchester.
Brightburn here on Thursday, so I'm good on my end.
the chat room is saying Godzilla is not for another week out.
All right, well, we're showing around here, but I'm in. We're in New York. We get everything before the rest of you all motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, now I'm seeing Godzilla is next week for me, next Thursday.
All right,
so perfect.
let's Brightburn.
Brightburn it is. Please don't suck. We need at least a movie for our list.
Jesus Christ.
But before Brightburn, don't forget to share our link and write us a review on iTunes and all the other great stuff to support our podcast. We got a review on iTunes, a very nice one from somebody.
Oh, finally.
Thank you.
Because you all don't start reviewing, I'm going to crush your head like this can.
And we got a nice little blurb
Wow.
on Ink Heist, on the Ink Heist website. They
Yeah,
was
that was
about us.
a very nice write-up. Thank you. And if you don't want to see the full power that Hunter Shea just showed us, you should leave a review on iTunes because he looks very strong.
You don't want to see that, man.
I haven't seen anybody crush a can like that since Jaws.
Crush it like
Jaws.
Quint.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Gentlemen, till next week.
Yes.
Farewell and
great.
adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
Bye.
I like Spanish girls.